So I've told some of you that at a certain point I was actually in jail. Believe it or not, I was falsely accused and went to jail, and I refused to admit to something I didn't do. I was like, I don't care what you say, I don't care what offer you try and give me. They actually gave me plea deals so I could get out of jail sooner, but I would have had to have said I did something I didn't do. And all the evidence proved I didn't do it. My own attorney was trying to get me to sign a plea deal. I was like, what's wrong with you idiots? You know? My attorney actually tried to get it where, to plead insanity. And I was like, but I ain't insane. you know? It's not where it's like, maybe insane as in, when the girl I'm with is sane and I'm having sex with her, then I suppose I'm insane, right? But it's kind of interesting when you realize that, for some reason there were idiots who just felt it was necessary to try and damage my reputation and put me into jail, prison, or some state hospital. Why? That's a good question. But it isn't what I want to talk to you about. In fact, what I actually want to talk to you about is some what you might call jailhouse humor. You might jailhouse humor. Well, if you've gone to jail, you might know some what it is that I'm about to talk about. You might have certain, I don't know, something that you'd actually be like, it's true, because you know it's kind of crazy if you think about it. Because I actually went to jail. I mean, what I find funny is I remember before I went to jail, certain ones were like, "Oh, when he goes to jail, he can't. If he goes to prison, he'll die. If he goes to the state hospital, they'll rape him there and all that." None of that ever happened. Obviously, I'm still alive. They didn't rape me, all that kind of stuff. But it is funny that they use that almost as some kind of like as if it's suddenly going to change a person or something like that. With a certain kind of who knows what it is that they're thinking, right? Kind of like some of the ones that are like, well, all you got to do is punch him in the face and he'll cry like a little bitch. And it's like, punch me in the face and you're going to the hospital. Unless I'm being nice. Because every once in a while I'm like, go ahead. Punch me in the face, and when I don't cry like a little bitch, maybe you're going to be smart enough to realize you don't want to try and punch me again. Right? So, anyways, it just got it's something where it's kind of funny because when I was in jail, I was trying to show a little bit of humor, somewhat, right? And there was stuff that I was talking about that you might recognize from jail if you've ever gone to jail, and if you haven't, then possibly it'll still be funny because you'll be like, seriously? And it's like, yeah, because it's somewhat based on reality, you know, because it is. It's like, why is it funny? Because it's true. Like, there was somebody who was talking about, using stuff as weapons, and I'm like, yeah, you could probably use just about anything as a weapon. You'd be surprised at some of the stuff that's actually deadly. And they're like, oh, really? You think you could use any kind of object as a weapon? Basically. What about toilet paper? Yeah, I probably could kill someone with toilet paper. And they laughed, right? They made fun of me. I don't know if you realize how dangerous toilet paper is. Now, in jail, there are those who sometimes make little knives and stuff, right? Out of toilet paper. I don't know if you know how they do that. I ain't going to tell you how they do it because it is part of the process of making actual weapons with toilet paper. So what was funny is, while they're trying to laugh at me and act like I don't know what I'm talking about and like I'm an idiot, I made weapons with toilet paper. Now, what's funny is there's dudes in jail that are threatening me, right? They're like, we'll kill you, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, right? And they're like, next thing I know, some guard is going to my cell because I was like, really? I just thought you guys might want to know that, it's like, remember when we were talking about what can you do with toilet paper? Let me show you some of the different kinds of stuff I can do with toilet paper. Apparently, someone got so scared they called the guards, who then raided my room and confiscated all the toilet paper weapons. So for the fact that different ones said that, he thinks he can kill somebody with toilet paper. you know, it's like, oh, so you were laughing at me, and then you called the guards. I'm in a hole in solitary confinement. You know, and you were so scared of toilet paper weapons after laughing at me for saying I could kill someone with toilet paper that you called the guards to raid my room and confiscate toilet paper weapons. Kind of funny. And what's funny too is I wasn't planning on attacking anybody with those weapons. Now, what the crazy part is, were those weapons deadly? No. Could I have made them deadly? Yeah. Would they have harmed someone? Oh yeah, definitely. I suppose technically they could be used as deadly weapons, but when you realize how many times you'd have to hit somebody to actually kill them, at least like 3 or 4 times probably. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a deadly weapon. But, only a few of them were like a 3-hit kind of death kind of something. The rest of them were like the type of stuff where it's like, it's more of a deterrent, I guess you'd call it, than an actually deadly weapon. But it's something where, there were like, 3 different weapons that I made that, I probably could have killed somebody after like 3 or 4 hits. Or something like that, if you knew exactly where to hit someone with it. Otherwise, it isn't that deadly. Could I have made it deadly? Yeah. And what is deadly? Deadly means I could use a toilet paper weapon and kill someone with 1 hit instantly. It's kind of funny that they were mocking me and laughing at the idea of using toilet paper. And like I said, I ain't even a criminal. Alright? It's something where I was falsely accused. And yet, they were scared of me. Once they started realizing what I could actually do. And like I said, there are those who probably, all I have to talk about is making dice with toilet paper, and there's some different ones that would be like, I think I got an idea what he's talking about. Yeah. It's the basic idea. If you comprehend the basic idea, you'll realize it is possible to make deadly weapons with toilet paper. Now, what else is kind of funny? Now, that's kind of a scary kind of funny, right? There's some that are laughing because they've gone to jail and prison, and they're laughing their asses off. There's others that are thinking it's scary as fuck because they probably never went to jail or prison, or they view it as a... But, for certain one, like I said, it's jailhouse humor. It's jailhouse humor, all right? So, now something that's a little bit funnier, and for the girls. The girls, if you go to jail and you're feeling a bit lonely, if you have money on your books and you can get commissary items, I noticed at least where I'm at here in Kansas, they have pickles, right? That can be ordered. I never ordered the pickles myself, but when I was talking to some of the girls and doing some of what I was doing with some of them, I was like, well, anytime you miss me and want to feel some kind of... What you can do is order a pickle. Now remember, you're probably going to have to wash it and rinse it because it's got that hot kind of something there and all that kind of stuff, but, at least, while you're thinking about me. And it's a nice little snack, too, I guess, right? So when you're done using the pickle... it isn't like it needs to go to waste. Unless you really feel like it. Then I suppose you could do that too. Which you might if you're thinking about me. It's like, kind of like going and prairie dogging it. Because you really need to just feel something sliding in and out of your ass. You know what I mean? Like girls thinking about me that are lactose intolerant purposely order cheese so they can prairie dog it just because they want to think about me for a minute. It's jailhouse humor, like I said. Those that have gone to jail probably laughing their asses off, and I know that because when I was in jail, they were laughing their asses off. You know, and for a number of reasons. It's funny because it's true. You know, so it's just kind of somewhere when you realize some of the realities, right? So it's kind of something too where it's the idea of like, you know, someone says, you're talking a bunch of shit. No, actually, what I'm telling you, it's true. It's all true. If I wanted to talk shit, I'd say stuff like poop, guano, turd, cow pie. You know, then I'd be talking just a bunch of shit. What I'm telling you right now is actually factual. You know, I don't want to just talk about a bunch of shit. It's like I want to actually talk about stuff that's somewhat relevant, hopefully entertaining, and that you can laugh about. So it's somewhere, and some of it's kind of educational too, right? There's a few different ones that are like learning already. They're just like, oh my god, seriously? Yes, yes, it's like that. Okay, so anyways, it's somewhere when you start realizing some of the realities, where you know, like I'll go, you know, I talk to the girls about the prairie dogging of their shit as they're sitting on the toilet and stuff like that. But it isn't because I'm some kind of fecophiliac or something like that. You got to realize it has to do more with the fact of if you really feel like you need me and I can't be there for you, and you're someplace like jail, this is what you can do, and then just think about me and enjoy it for what it is. Has nothing to do with the crap itself. It's the fact that the girls, they're thinking about me. And so it has nothing to do with turds. Because they aren't thinking about the turd. They're thinking about my penis. In case you're having difficulty putting that together, you know, it's like, you know, I was trying to kind of help you get to that point where you can, like, oh, that's what they're, yeah. So, you know, anyways, it's something where, you know, if you realize some of the different stuff for what it is, right? That, you know, I was even joking about something. I'm like, you know, y'all, a bunch of y'all talk about shit all the time. You know, you're a bunch of shit talkers anyways. It's like all you got is shit on your brains. I swear that it's like if you decided to commit suicide and you shot yourself in the head, that when they got to wherever you were at, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on with all this shit? Dude committed suicide, shot out his brains. Damn. He must have had a lot of shit on his mind. Look at all that shit. There's crap everywhere. Who's going to clean up that crap? You know? I don't want to clean that up, man. Man, this case stinks. You know what I mean? It's somewhere, it's like, you know, if you realize it's somewhere, it's like maybe if you weren't so full of shit, you know, you would have had like something that was, well, look at all that brain matter, you know? It's like a mind gone to waste. You know, it's actually what it was to happen to you, because your mind went to waste, and that's why there's shit everywhere instead of brain matter, because, you know, it's just kind of one of those deals where, you know, if you realize the reality, right, that what it was that happened was you're so full of shit and you talk so much shit, right, and what happened? You shot yourself, and now everybody else has to deal with your shit. And it's just kind of one of those deals where it's like, you know, it's kind of sort of funny if you think about it. Just a little bit. You know, just a little bit. Because, you know, it's like, you know, when I talk to the girls and stuff, it's like, you know, I ain't really a criminal. You know, I was falsely accused. Like, what are you, a cop? No. But I have to do like a ton of my own work to work on my own case. You know, since apparently my attorney is giving me bad advice. So I actually have to go to the legal library and do it. Oh, so girl, you're like a detective. Well, I suppose for my own case, kind of, sort of. I'll tell you what. Go ahead. Uh, you can say I'm a detective of sorts, I guess, right? In fact, maybe you could use some help. Do you think you could use a private dick? You can call me Harry. Harry Private Dick. Do you need me to go undercover for you? Hmm? You know, maybe I'm gonna go deep undercover. you know? So it's just kind of somewhere, like I said, jailhouse humor. It's the humor that when you're in jail, you kind of laugh about it. And you're going, the reason you laugh is for what reason? Because it's true. Right? There are those who are laughing their asses off and others that are probably mortified. Because it's humorous. Which is also a play on words. Which, I don't know if you realize it, but I'm a vocal person sometimes, right? And I enjoy talking and, you know, interaction. And it's something where I'm a bit of a debater. Because, well, actually, I've been debating for years. Some would call me a master debater. And, as a master debater, what it means is, I'm really good with my tongue. And there are some girls who really enjoy good cunning linguists. And so it's something where when you realize I'm really good with my tongue, it's part of the reason why girls actually really like me. Is because of, my skills. So, it's just something where, a bunch of girls actually enjoy having a bit of back and forth and a good debate, and all that kind of stuff. And it's something that sometimes they can really take it in and they really enjoy it. And so I don't want to stop, what can be actual productive efforts if someone actually enjoys that kind of stuff, And so it's just kind of something where, like I said, when you realize that when I went to jail, different ones had a certain idea of what was going to happen when I went to jail and went to other places. And it didn't exactly go the way they thought, I guess, for whatever reason that was, right? I mean, it isn't like I didn't tell different ones. You realize I was homeless at a certain point, right? I was homeless and I was even starving for a while. Like, I literally went sometimes for about a week without any food. And there was certain stuff I just refused to do. It's like, I don't care what is happening, I refuse to do certain kinds of acts, right? And so it was just kind of interesting because, I don't know if you can tell, but I ain't exactly starving anymore. I also have my own house, so it isn't like I'm homeless, right? But you have to realize that, I was homeless. I was living on the streets for quite a while. And the streets didn't break me. I'm stronger today because of the fact I never broke. And tons of different ones constantly try and break me. It drives them crazy that they can't, but all they've done is made me stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's something where, when you realize if you believe that you can do the kind of stuff that others tell you you can't, and if you don't compromise beyond a certain point. Like, there's certain places where a person can compromise, right? It's like if I wanted to eat some food, there's certain areas I would compromise, right? Like, maybe I wouldn't have to go to the store and purchase some food to eat. It's possible if someone offered me a meal, I could eat a meal. If I had to dig a half-eaten sandwich out of the garbage, I could dig a half-eaten sandwich out of the garbage. Compromises that maybe aren't exactly what a person would want to do normally, right? But it's something where it's just, a matter of survival. But there's also certain compromises I wouldn't make. Like if someone told me that I was supposed to suck their dick to get a meal, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, no, I'll just stay hungry. Because I can probably find something before I get to a point where it's beyond any kind of something, where I die. And it's true. I actually, would go different places and try and find food or, try and get someone to help me every once in a while, which isn't really the type of person I am. But you also have to realize part of the reason different ones help me sometimes was because of the fact that I actually would ask about getting a job. I'd be like, do you know any place that's hiring? I'm looking for work. And I would actually fill applications. And the only reason I couldn't get any work was because I didn't have an address. Which is kind of funny if you think about it, right? Because if I had an address, I could have gotten work. But in order to get an address, I needed to work to get the money for the address. Because when I went to get an address someplace, what did they say? Well, if you don't have a job, we can't allow you. And sometimes I even had money. I'd have cash, and I'd be like, but I have enough money to pay, the rent for, to at least get stuff. I just need an address so I can get some work. Well, unless you actually have a job, we can't help you. So I go to an employer. Look, if I don't have a job, I can't get a place to live. I need a place to live so I can get work, but I need work to get a place to live. Is it possible that you could call the person that I'm trying to rent the apartment from or something? Maybe you could get some kind of something where you both agree that, hey, I'm here and applying, and if I get hired here, that they can get me the apartment. But we don't really do that kind of stuff, and, we would hire you, but you don't have an actual physical address. And like, if you won't even work with me, I don't think you were really going to hire me in the first place. You know what I mean? Eventually, I did get some work, though. There was a place I went to where someone actually was like, hey, I'll tell you what, if you're serious about getting some work, I know a place you can go to get an address. So anyways, that's how I, went from being homeless on the street to, basically where I'm at now kind of deal. You know what I mean? And with that in mind, realized that when certain ones say stuff about jail, it's, and what they expected was going to happen to me, I'm going, well, it's probably because you don't really realize my past. And it's also part of the reason why I have some of the jailhouse humor, right? Because jailhouse humor is a little bit different than like normal everyday humor, right? It's kind of like, drug dealers have a certain humor, right? When you think about drugs and stuff like that, hotheads, some of it's funny. You watch it in movies sometimes. And it's like, oh yeah, man, dude, that weed was so good, right? And stuff. And when you're watching it and it's funny, right? Oh, wait, what were you talking about? Oh, that's crazy. I don't know. And it's like, you know what I mean? That's why, that's part of like jailhouse humor too, a little bit, if you think about it. Because it's almost like, hey, whoa, dude, hey, oh, I gotta tell you something. When they were going over, and then I was like, whoa, and then she was all like, yeah, and then we're like, wow, and then, hey, guess what? There's like, and then with the, and then they were just getting it all with the, and, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, and it was cool. I guess you had to have been there. And then, it's just got, what the hell are you talking about? I was telling you about I heard you say that there was something about her being there and wow, and there was like some stuff or some kind of, you were there! Oh man, you remember? No, I wasn't there. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. I could have sworn you were there, because you were telling the story just like you were there. This is like, oh, maybe you should tell the story next time. You're a good storyteller. You know what I mean? I realize that's a little bit of like Jailhouse humor too. You know, when you start realizing Jailhouse humor. What is Jailhouse humor? And then what is regular, if you want to call it regular, normal, everyday humor? It's kind of like when I was talking to different ones, and I'm like, you ever listen to Jeff Foxworthy? You know, if you have more than 4 cars in your front yard and none of them run, you might be a redneck. And I was like, you do realize that some of those jokes, all you have to do is say, and you live in the city. Guess what? You might live in the ghetto. If you use duct tape to fix anything that's broken, you might be a redneck. If you use duct tape to fix anything that's broken and you live in the city, you might live in the ghetto. It's like, honestly, if you think about it, just listen to Jeff Foxworthy. Like seriously, go and listen to You Might Be a Redneck If. And I can't say it applies to all of it, but I mean, it's like, if you own more than 40 guns, you know, I think it depends. Do you live in the country or you live in the city? You know? And then realize if you live in the ghetto, you're kind of a redneck. You're the city redneck. If you live in the country, well, you're the country redneck. I'm from Washington State. I'm a redneck. I'm a city boy and a country boy. You know? So because I'm a city boy and a country boy, because I lived in the city and I lived in the country, I'm a redneck from both worlds. Because it's kind of interesting if you really think about it. You know what I'm saying? There's more commonality than different ones want to admit to. And that's part of what Jailhouse humor is. Once you recognize what it is that is the similarities, the reality, what makes us human, you know, that's what's funny about it. When Jailhouse humor can actually get murderers and rapists and falsely accused and prostitutes and pimps and all sorts of different ones to laugh. Those from rival gangs sitting there without thinking about who it is that's sitting next to them. They're just enjoying the humor. And it's even more funny to them somewhat because they're going, it's funny because it's true. We live it every day. And if you can comprehend the idea of Jailhouse humor, and why even though some of the jokes I told to some would just be like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that. It's shocking. You know? It's the kind of humor that's necessary in certain places. And while it may be shocking to some, for others it brings a smile to their face, makes them laugh, maybe even brings a tear to their eye. So maybe you shouldn't be judgmental about Jailhouse humor. Maybe you should actually figure out how you could relate. Kind of like the country rednecks and the ghetto rednecks. You know, realizing that there's certain commonality. And once you figure that out, well, maybe you're starting to get an idea of the bigger picture. Maybe you're ready to start learning. Because once you can finally comprehend some of the most simplistic concepts and ideas, then you can move on to the more complex. And what I've been talking about recently with tons of my different videos is simplistic. But you have to comprehend the simplistic ideas. Otherwise, you'll never comprehend the more complex ideas. So hopefully, with a little bit of talking about jailhouse humor, you had an opportunity to laugh, an opportunity to learn, and enjoy a little bit of entertainment. And remember, it's funny because it's true.